table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals, but I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. This announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. The bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, this is the Sports Loudmouths. Check out our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app on iOS, WWSRN or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Very interesting story when we were on break. Denver Broncos and wide receiver Jerry Jeudy could be moved before the trade deadline. And the 3 teams that is destined to possibly land him is 1, the Packers, which we've been talking about, 2, the Indianapolis Colts, and number 3, Speedy's New York Giants, which is very interesting. Here's the thing. Jerry Jeudy, I thought was going to be a superstar when he came into this league. I did. I thought Jerry Jeudy from Alabama, what he did on those national teams, those national championship teams, was fantastic. To me, he was the best route runner going into the draft. We were arguing about that. That draft with the wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Jefferson, that was one of the best, drafts when it came to wide receivers we've seen in a very long time. Might be the best going into that offseason. But Jerry Jeudy really hasn't reached his potential. He hasn't been the player we thought he was going to be, maybe because of the quarterbacks that they had over there with Denver. But they have Russell Wilson there, and Russell Wilson really hasn't figured him out yet. Sutton's been the number one guy over there. So to me, is Jerry Jeudy that good? What would you give up for Jerry Jeudy? He was a first-round talent. He fell in that draft, if you remember. He fell just like CeeDee Lamb did. CeeDee Lamb fell further than him. I think CeeDee Lamb went 17. I think he went 13. No, he went 15 or something like that. Both guys were expected to be top 10 talents. CeeDee Lamb has become a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Jerry Jeudy is not. Jerry Jeudy would be lucky if he's the top 17, top 18 wide receiver in the NFL. And for a guy that was expected to be a star talent, he's not that good. Now, will the Giants be willing to give up a second-round draft pick for a Jerry Jeudy? That's what you're going to have to give up to get him. The Packers, second round, same thing with the Colts. I don't know what the Broncos are looking for. Maybe the Broncos are looking for a first-round talent. They have no future. They gave it away for Russell Wilson. So maybe they get a second and a fourth for him. I don't know. If teams are desperate, they will. Are the Giants really desperate? I don't think so. For Jerry Jeudy, I wouldn't give up a second-round draft pick for Jerry Jeudy. I really wouldn't. I know he's young, but I don't know what he is. There's nothing that really stands out to me that Jerry Jeudy is a number one. He's not. He's a number two. He's an Elijah Moore. That's what I think he is. I think Elijah Moore is more talented. And I know, I was talking to Josh today, and Josh was telling me that he would trade Elijah Moore for Jerry Jeudy, and I said, you're out of your mind. I think Elijah Moore has more upside than Jerry Jeudy does. Elijah Moore last year, before he got hurt, he had closer. He was the best wide receiver for the Jets last year, and he missed like 3-4 games. Now he's not seeing the ball enough. He wants out, so let him go. I don't think Douglas or Saleh is going to trade him, but if he believes that he's going to get traded, well, good luck to him. I mean, right now, when you look at the league and some of these prima donna wide receivers, I'm surprised Jerry Jeudy hasn't spoken out and demanded to be traded because of that team and how he doesn't see the ball as much as Sutton does. And he's he was at one point a better talent. Sutton was what, a second or third round draft pick?
Second round pick, yep.
Jeudy was supposed to be the number one. Sutton was supposed to be the two. It's the opposite. Maybe because Russell Wilson likes to throw to the big guys. But he had Tyler Lockett over there with Seattle. And Seattle at one point had Tyler Lockett, who I thought was better than DK Metcalf. There is no excuses. But I'll tell you this. I think the team, why would the Colts do this too? But the Colts are done. I know they're 3-3 and everybody thinks they are done. There is nothing that stands out to me as far as an organization is concerned, the way they are. And Jim Irsay, if I was Jim Irsay right now, I would try to demand to lose. I would lose. With the quarterbacks that are coming out of this year's draft, you could take your pick if you're a top 5, top 7 draftee. I don't know where the Colts are going. But the Colts have always been lucky with quarterbacks. They always do. They lost Peyton Manning. They get Andrew Luck. Then they lose Andrew Luck. And now, remember, Johnny Unitas, every 10 years, they have a quarterback that actually could play, that are elite. Johnny Unitas, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. Who's next? They get Stroud? Is that what they get?
C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Maybe he falls to them. Bryce Young.
Will Levis, yeah.
Will Levis. Yeah. I'll get one of these guys, and they become stars. They'll become a star because that's what they do. They find quarterbacks.
Yeah, and you could tell when they don't have quarterbacks what they end up being. They're horrible. They have like no identity when they have no quarterbacks either. And you look at a case now where they tried Matt Ryan again, and a lot of people have said, oh, they've just tried to aid themselves with just like veteran guys with a talented team around them. Well, maybe it was more coaching than that, because you look at the defense too. They're not the same without Eberflus, and they're definitely not the same without that offensive line playing as well as it has either.
No.
It was 2 years ago, people were saying it was the best offensive line in football.
100%.
It's fallen off where it's not even top 10 anymore. It's probably average at this point, and it's just not the same. Taylor's been all right when he's been healthy, but he's been hurt too, and definitely not the same as last year. It's just a weird identity for a Colts organization that is always quarterback driven and has been for a long time. Even when they were bad, like they still had good quarterback years. Look at Andrew Luck's first 2 years of his career. That team was horrible.
Yep.
And they still they made the playoffs as a wild card the first year. They made it as a division winner, a 4th seed the second year. They had that insane comeback against the Chiefs. So it just shows you the big differences when it comes to that.
And I think when you look at both teams, and I'm talking about Indianapolis and the Packers, I think the Packers are the ones that have a chance still to make the playoffs. So I think it's the Packers to lose. If they want Jerry Jeudy, I think they can get him. I just wondering what they're willing to give up for him. And is Jerry Jeudy the answer?
Yeah. And again, I don't know if they're really in.
He's not that number one guy, that nonstop guy that you could give up a second or third round draft pick for and say, oh my God, this guy's going to be the breakout guy that we've been looking for. I don't know if he is that.
Yeah. And also, again, like we were saying before with the Packers, are they the obvious contenders where that kind of thing is going to be suitable for a team like the Colts either? Because yeah, they might make the playoffs, they might win a crappy division, but that doesn't mean it's likely for them to be able to go far, even with Jerry Jeudy too. Yeah, they doesn't have to be a number one there. Pittman's the number one, but he could be a number two there. Fine. But that still doesn't take away from the situation the Colts are in. And they've really just diminished themselves with not bad contracts necessarily, but losing a lot of players and then losing some coaches too. And they might lose another one at the end of the year with Frank Reich, the way this team is going right now, because it's abysmal.
Frank Reich is probably going to become an offensive coordinator somewhere. New York Jets, please reach out to him.
He's going to be back on either Andy Reid's staff or Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. That would be the way to stick it to the Colts. Let's go to the Jaguars.
Why didn't he just go to Buffalo? He has Josh Allen over there.
That's fair. I'm just judging based on the connections that they have there too.
He'll have a job
if he goes Eberflus,
if he goes Andy Reid, or he goes to he goes to Buffalo, he has an opportunity to get a coaching job the year after, because your offense is going to be elite if you have obviously Mahomes or you have Josh Allen.
Right.
So I would go to a team where I'm going to have an opportunity to play with a top end quarterback and make that team a top elite offense again, where I have another chance to become a head coach in the NFL again. That's what I would do. Frank Reich is a good coach. I believe he is. I just think he lost the team. I think he lost the team really when Phillip Rivers retired.
Right. And Phillip Rivers even didn't have a great year over there either. He was efficient, but he didn't have the same arm strength or anything like that.
No, but I think they were still playing well. And I think after Phillip Rivers retired, I think it was over for him. I just don't. I think they were trying to glue things together, and it just didn't work. And now I think they should lose the rest of their games and go after the top quarterback. Go get the best quarterback in this year's class. Next year, you have a good team. That defense is elite. That offensive line is still very good. Mm-hmm. They have one of the best running backs in the NFL, and they have Pittman, who's one of the better young wide receivers in the league. So you get yourself an elite young quarterback, you're right back there with that division, which is the worst division in the AFC.
But it's the worst in football by a pretty good margin, right?
I mean, you have Houston, you have the Jaguars, and you have Tennessee. I mean, the only team you have to worry about is Tennessee. And are you worried about them? You have Tannehill.
Yeah, Tennessee's a good team. Nobody's calling them an elite team. They're pretty balanced, fine, but they're not a Super Bowl contender.
You get a quarterback, you're a contender again.
They might be like if you're talking about the power rankings earlier, they might be thinking of Tennessee as like maybe a 9th best team.
If Frank Reich gets retired, if he gets fired this offseason, if I was a guy that was up for grabs for that position, I would take it. That is a good team. You get yourself a quarterback and you're a top 10, draftee, and you can get one of those young. There are 5 or 6 really good quarterbacks in this draft class. 6 of them. They're all probably going in the top 10. I would predict that none of them fall out of the top 10. There are too many teams that need quarterbacks.
Right.
Teams that are going to trade up if they're not available to get them.
And there's going to be other quarterbacks that'll gain their stock too by the end of the year as well. When you have a case of, we were talking.
I mean, you have the Ohio State guy Stroud. You have Young. You have the kid from Nebraska. I'm sorry, Kentucky.
Will Levis. Yep,
that's 3. Who are the other 2 guys?
And I think you're looking at Tennessee's quarterback Hooker that I definitely is making to make a leap. Caleb Williams is another one from USC.
Right.
I'm not sure if he's going to be draft eligible this year.
Florida isn't Florida's quarterback?
Nah, not this year. Not this year. The other one that was kind of on the cusp was at the time Fresno State's Jake Haener was another one that was a first-round talent that a lot of people liked too. And then there's going to be some other small school guys, but those are the main guys when you look at that. And Hooker, if Tennessee makes the college football playoff, could definitely elevate his status to where they could think of him as a leader. He's got good mobility. Now, his arm talent isn't the same, but it's definitely interesting where
you don't need great arm
Yeah,
talent.
if you have the right coaching, they can make that kind of thing work and fix it. I think he still has the abilities to make that kind of thing work. I wasn't high on him last year. Remember, Jeff and I were talking about this for a while during the draft season. Like we both of us said that Hendon Hooker is that one guy that might be the bust of that draft class. I don't know if I think that way anymore. He looks like he's developing into something.
Where is Jeff been? You know, where is he hiding?
Oh, what was he complaining about? Oh, he tagged me in a tweet about Elijah Moore, naturally, when Elijah Moore first had the injury.
What was he complaining about?
He was like, no, he wasn't complaining. He was like, ha 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 ha, Jets dysfunction, just when they're getting good or something like that.
Jets dysfunction.
Yeah, just when they were getting good, he was still mocking them again, and all of a sudden.
How's our video, by the way? Is it working?
It's working on Twitter. Facebook, it's in and out, and it's on your LinkedIn. So that's all I can get right now. Hopefully, Ovie Mughelli will be coming in about 9:45. He says.
All right.
With the new link, and that's what we're going to go out at this point.
And you'll fix the Facebook for tomorrow.
Yeah,
for
I'll
Thursday.
have to figure out the Facebook because it seems to be the main issue.
It's not Facebook. You have to reach out to our stream guys and then get it fixed. I'm sure it's something wrong on their side.
Yeah, it looks that way because it keeps cutting in and out. I don't know why, but Twitter and LinkedIn, it's working. On Facebook, we'll see.
Well, I'd like to thank Tracy Woodson for joining us. Richmond baseball head coach, former Dodger and Cardinal infield. He was fantastic. He really was.
Yeah,
great interview. And in just a few minutes, well, I would say on the bottom of the hour, we will be talking to ex-Ravens, Falcons, all-pro fullback Ovie Mughelli. I'm sorry, who will be joining us on the show. We'll talk a little football with him, and then tomorrow we will not have a show, ladies and gentlemen. So just want to give a shout out. I want to apologize to the fans that are on Facebook trying to get into our Facebook. There's been a little bit of a problem, but we'll have it fixed for Thursday. So don't worry about that. We will. But yeah, so it's crazy. But to get back into what we're talking about, and we'll get into, actually, let's do our week 7 recap. You want to do that? Let's do that.
That's good.
Let's go for our week 7 recap, because when Ovie comes on, we're not going to have time for that.
That's right.
So what we'll do is what we do every single every single week
and
is we do. Yeah, that's true too. We'll go through our recap of the week. Speedy, you ready?
Yep.
Let's go.
All right. The New York Giants holding on to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-17. A lot of bad calls. Now, a lot of Giants fans are saying it was a lot against them. I actually don't think that way. I think there were a lot of bad spot fouls, given to the Jaguars too, that the Giants got a lot of beneficiaries on. But one of the more uglier games that the Giants, they were trying to commit every penalty imaginable to get Jacksonville back in the game. It was a series of a lot of out routes, a lot of yards after the catch both ways, but Giants just able to hang on. And Saquon Barkley, he's getting it going in the fourth quarter, even in the games where he's not the best overall. So that's good to see. They're gritty again. Daniel Jones, 5 fourth quarter comebacks, leads the NFL. It's crazy. Daniel Jones just played fantastic in the second half of the season. Second half of the games, but even what he's done in the first half of the season, he's been dominant. He runs the ball very, very well, and with even the lack of weapons that he has, he finds a way to win the game. He really does, and that's what you want from a quarterback. You don't need to throw 300 and 400 yards. I've been saying that to Jet fans. If Zach Wilson throws 200 yards a game and 1 touchdown and they win, I don't give a crap. He doesn't need to throw 300-400 yards to be an elite quarterback in the league. He just needs to be efficient. If he's efficient, he'll win. And that's what Daniel Jones is. He's efficient. All those Giant fans that thought he wasn't efficient, he wasn't going to be any good, well, you're absolutely wrong. This guy is the future quarterback of this team. They believe. And I believe
if there's anybody that can fix him, is Dable. And listen, Jacksonville was the better team on the field throughout the game, but the Giants found a way in the fourth quarter to win, and they've been doing that all season. So the Giants pull off the win, and they're 6-1.
All right, you're right about this one. The Dallas Cowboys absolutely blowing out the Detroit Lions, 24-6.
They're done. The Lions are done.
You have some fighting words with Paulo there, who thought this would be a close game. That's not the case. Yeah, the Dallas defense showing what they can do, and the Lions offense, which was the best in the league for the first 4 weeks, all of a sudden has disappeared.
What's going on with their defense? I mean, Hutchinson has been a shell of himself since the first 2 games.
Well, that's what you play the Commanders' offensive line. He had 3 sacks in that game. Hasn't had a sack since then. Until this week, he had 1, but still not getting a lot of pressures either.
He hasn't looked good. He really hasn't. And that defense hasn't looked good. They have no secondary. It's completely gone. And look, the Cowboys are not a good offensive team. Let's be honest. They're not. They run the ball. Zeke, I listened to the Beef. Did you watch Zeke this week? He played against the Lions defense, okay? Ezekiel Elliott will be gone next year. He will not be back. Dak, I think he's a big part of what this offense is going to be this year. I think Dak makes this team a little bit better offensively, but they have one weapon in the open field, and that's CeeDee Lamb. Besides that, there's nothing that scares me on this team, and they're going to have problems against the Eagles. They're going to have problems even against the Giants. Why? Because both teams can play defense. So if they can't score, they're going to have a problem. So that's my thought about the Cowboy game.
All right, the Bengals blowing at the Falcons 35-17. Looked like a pretty ugly first half for a while, or for the Bengals. Or looked like a dominant first half, then it was going to be an ugly third quarter for a while. It looked like the Falcons were going to come back, but Joe Burrow has one of his best career games, 481 yards, 3 touchdowns in that game.
I wish he was on my fantasy team.
Yeah, this was his first big week that we've seen in a while for Burrow. Really has been more of a defensive-led Bengals effort this year. No thanks to Mr. Zach Taylor and that offensive line. Definitely not doing well either. Joe Mixon's still having some trouble, though. So if the Bengals are going to get back to that Super Bowl form, they're going to need to get him going.
They're not going to the Super Bowl. I don't know why anybody believes they are.
I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. Like the Bills and the Chiefs are those
they're a
top
playoff
2 teams. Yeah, they're a playoff team. The Bengals. It's just if anyone's going to be that sleeper, maybe they are they going to be that third team. They have a chance to be that if they can find some level of a running game. But
they'll
right now,
lose in the first round. They'll lose in the wild card game.
Possible. Yeah.
I don't think they're any good. I watched them against the Jets. Okay, and they beat the Jets. They did. They beat one of the Jets' losses this year was against the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals should have won that game. I thought the Jets were the better team. The Jets are starting to figure things out because after that game and the whole Quentin Williams thing on the sidelines with the defensive line coach, I think that game changed everything. If they played the Jets again, I think the Jets beat them. I don't think they're not offensively sound this year. I think Jamar Chase, teams are figuring it out. He likes to throw the ball, Jamar, and then obviously his other 2 weapons in Boyd and Higgins. Higgins is that second option, but teams are figuring this out. They're figuring out this offense. And if they can't run the ball and they know they're just one-dimensional type of team, that's how you shut down that team. So they can't run the ball. And if Joe Mixon can't figure out how to run the ball, they're done. They're not going to come out of the wild card series, the wild card game, no matter who they play against. So that's my problem with the Bengals so far of what I've seen so far in 7 weeks.
All right, we were talking about the Colts earlier. They got an ugly game against the Titans, 19-10. Tennessee wins, and yeah, that's just about as ugly as it gets. Matt Ryan now benched for Sam Ehlinger, 6th-round pick. That's for the
season, by the way.
Rock bottom for the Colts at this point.
And they're only 3-3. It's not like they're in bad shape right now. They're 3-3, and they're giving up on Matt Ryan. That tells you one thing. They did, and why did they get rid of Carson Wentz? Beyond me. Carson Wentz is not having a breakout year, but he's winning for the Washington Commanders. What is Matt Ryan doing?
Absolutely nothing. The Commanders, speaking of them, they beat the Packers 23-21.
And by the way, Matt Ryan and the 3 wins that they have are against crappy teams, okay? They didn't beat anybody good.
Speaking of the Commanders, they win against 23-21. Taylor Heineke played for Carson Wentz in this game. Not a great game, 201 yards. But Terry McLaurin was very impressive in that game. He made a lot of really tight sideline catches, had a touchdown that he just extended, had a big 3rd down catch right at the end of that game, right on the sideline as well. And Washington was able to run in this game, a 2-headed monster with Robinson. Brian Robinson, shout out to him. He was shot in this car, right near his car at the start of the season, had to be hospitalized, now playing in football games. that's a great
Good for
story for him. And Antonio Gibson, 10 carries, 59 yards as well. And the big thing, the Packers could not run the ball. Washington's defense finally stepping up like they should.
One of the weakest divisions in football, we thought this year is one of the strongest divisions of football. Who would have thought? I mean, you have the Washington Commanders 3-4, the Giants 6-1, the Cowboys 5-2, the Eagles 6-0. I mean, that's the best division in football right now. Each and every one of those teams could make the playoffs. 7 teams make the playoffs this year. All 3 of those teams, besides the Eagles, could be wild card teams. That's how bad the NFC is right now. It is crazy. Listen, I think Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. I don't like how Ron Rivera took shots at him a couple of weeks ago. When you look at his numbers and what he has done so far this year, he is still amongst the league's top 10, top 12 quarterbacks in the NFL. For anybody to take shots at this guy, he found a way to win against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. It's not the same Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, but it's still the Green Bay Packers. So, Carson Wentz, go.
All right. The Ravens finally do not blow a fourth quarter lead. They beat the Browns. They barely hang on 23-20.
I don't know what's wrong with that team.
Yeah, the Ravens are still kind of an unknown too. They have the defense to be able to do it on paper, but I think they still desperately need an edge rusher. They really do not have much. They tried to bring in old man Jason Pierre-Paul. They tried to bring in old man Justin Houston, and it's just not working. They need a guy that's a little more explosive.
He was playing well against the Jets.
He played fine. He played fine against the Jets. Okay, but
again, like 2.5 sacks in that game.
But still, again, it's just not.
But that's not the same Jets.
Yeah.
That they've become in the last couple of
It's also not the same Justin Houston that you saw in his prime, and then Jason Pierre-Paul, who's had some good spurts with the Buccaneers too, but still not the same. But I think they definitely need an edge rusher. Offensively, they got their running game going again. Gus Edwards, a nice game, 66 yards and 2 touchdowns, and injury replacement for J.K. Dobbins. Lamar, not a big passing game, but good running as well.
That defense isn't any good. It's just not. That's it. I don't know what's going on with Baltimore. I don't know who they are as an organization. John Harbaugh might be looking for a new job at the end of the season. I don't know what's going on. Everybody thought that this was the best team in the AFC North, and a lot of people thought this was a top 3 team in the whole league with their defense and what they added in the offseason. They added a star corner. They added some safety help. They added some linebacker help. I don't know what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens, and Lamar Jackson is a shell of himself. This is a guy that's betting on himself going into the season, and right now he's betting wrong. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do in the offseason. The Ravens could just say, you know what, we're parting ways with you.
Yeah, looks that way. The way he hasn't played the same since that Week 4 domination that they had. He played well in that game against the Bills, and then that fourth quarter, really, since then, the whole season's gone downhill for Lamar since then. All right, we talked with the Jets earlier, so the Raiders, they finally win a game. They should. They beat the Texans 38-20. Josh Jacobs going off.
Away.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs going off 143 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. That's good to see for a guy that's been kind of inconsistent.
Who'll be a free agent after this year.
Yeah, who also, again, they still haven't ruled out trading either, and maybe this is the game that say is a selling point, so maybe this is your running back, Buffalo, if you want to try to go for a running back.
Could you imagine him on Buffalo?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be fair.
Uh-huh.
That wouldn't be fair.
And
they're going to have to give up a lot.
No, I know.
A first-round draft.
The way Jacobs has played this year,
he
might garner a first-round pick. Now, his injuries and his inconsistencies throughout the years, is it likely? Maybe not. But again, he's the 3rd leading rusher in the NFL right now on a bad offensive line for the Raiders. They haven't been as bad as they were last year, but still, it's going to be tough to trust. But
if they make the trade, he gets signed from them in the offseason. They'll sign Jacobs. They'll find a way to sign him. They're not going to let him go. Why would they make a trade and give up a first-round draft pick and not sign him next year? He will be a Buffalo Bill next year if they sign him. I just don't know if they're going to trade him because Vegas still has a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, it's not out of a sort where they can't make the playoffs. They're 2-4. If they go on a winning streak, they can win 3 games in a row, and they could be right there in it. The AFC is still very open. If they win 9 games, they can make the playoffs. So don't count out the Raiders.
All right, the Seattle Seahawks, they take over first place in the NFC West by blowing out the LA Chargers 37-23. And the Kenneth Walker show continues in Seattle. 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Your fantasy team definitely striving.
No, they're not.
Just a
matter
matter
of the only player.
Yeah, I was going to say, now you just got to get the rest of your players
going. I need to get
a
quarterback going.
Yeah, you need somebody other than Aaron Rodgers.
I have Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, and you would think with those 2 guys, one of those guys would have a decent season because both of them. Well, Aaron Rodgers don't have weapons, but it's Aaron Rodgers. And Matthew Stafford going into the season had Allen Robinson, and a Cooper Kupp. I mean, and then maybe Odell Beckham as the season progressively moved. Odell's not going to that team. If I was Odell Beckham, I go to a team that is making the playoffs. The Giants makes a lot of sense. They need a wide receiver. Why go out and trade for Jerry Jeudy when you can get Odell Beckham for free?
Yeah.
That would make no sense. And Odell, that would benefit Odell too, because the team doesn't have to give away any pieces.
Yep. But maybe a quarterback, I don't know if he's available in our league, but maybe you could go after Geno Smith.
Yes.
210 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game without DK Metcalf, who left the game with a knee injury. It seems
he's going to make a lot of money in the offseason.
Yeah, Geno Smith's definitely striving. How about this Marquise Goodwin? I haven't heard that name in a while. 2 touchdowns in this game, too. So
good for him.
He's making good use out of the receivers that haven't done much in years.
He was always fast.
Yeah, he was always fast, but he always dropped the ball. Like
he played for, last time I remember, 49ers, right?
49ers. He played for the Bills for a little bit, and
Wasn't
other
he
team.
A Jet? Was he a Jet?
He might have been like a short stint with the Jets. I don't remember, but if it was, it might have been for like a part of the season, but definitely Buffalo and San Francisco was the last place I remember. And they gave him a big contract too in San Francisco. I couldn't believe it at the time, but he couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, I remember. I had him on my fantasy team.
I think I remember you saying that. Yeah. I was like, why did you draft him? He's like always hurt and he drops a bunch of passes. And,
I got him in the late rounds.
Yeah, which makes sense. But yeah, they got
him.
He had
going. Some decent years.
He had a couple good years in Buffalo, but that was really it. So yeah, Seahawks win that one. Chiefs blowing out the 49ers 44-23.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that, and I'll tell you why. Because in the beginning of the game, it was 14-0 or 10-0.
10-0. Yep.
It was 10-0. San Francisco was dominating the game. It looked like Kansas City had their head up their asses, and then all of a sudden, in the second quarter, it was the Mahomes show. Mahomes this, Mahomes that, and then Hardman was all over the place. And San Francisco, which is a very good defensive team, secondary is questionable in certain. Yeah, I mean, they have some good young secondary help, but their safety play this year has been horrendous. And what did they do? They put Hardman in the backfield, and they pretty much said, they threw him in a slot, they threw him on the outside, and he was catching the ball. He was running all over the San Francisco 49ers, and that was the Hardman coming out party.
And again, this is one of the things that we've seen with the Niners. Sometimes if they don't get anything of a pass rush, their defense really has not been the same. And it has looked really bad in certain instances too. And sometimes we talk about it with the Jets all the time, a team that doesn't like to blitz a lot. So when they don't blitz and they don't get that kind of pressure, they're not going to be the same type of defense. And as a result, they had to blitz more of their linebackers that usually cover. So their Chiefs offensive line really just dominated the line of scrimmage, and the Niners just couldn't adjust after that in that second and third quarter when the Chiefs are going off. All right, last of the 4 o'clock game, or no, that was it for the 4 o'clock games. The Sunday night game, the Miami Dolphins 16, the Steelers 10. It looked like the Dolphins of old. It looked like the Dolphins of old on the first drive, and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened after that.
I know what happened. It was a boring game.
Well, yeah, but the Dolphins looked like they were trying to get too cute at times with a secondary in the Steelers that is not very good.
I think they're coming down from what they were.
Well, of course they're coming down. Nobody expected them to last from the 3-0 start that they had when they beat the Bills. But again, it looked like
I think teams are figuring out who they are.
I think that they were fluent on that first drive, and all of a sudden I think outdid themselves. I think the coaching has been kind of questionable in that second half of that game, and on the defensive side of the ball too, where they almost blew that fourth quarter lead. They were allowing a lot of yards downfield to Kenny Pickett, who's not a big arm quarterback. All these deep catches, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, that aren't these big deep threats who make you deep catches. And the Dolphins, yeah, they're kind of an in-between team, and it seems like of those 8 teams we mentioned that might make the playoffs, they're probably that last team now because the Jets have surpassed them. And I think the Chargers are still ahead of them by a little bit.
I agree with you. I thought it was a very boring game. Tua was back. He was the interesting part of that whole game. There was nothing else that I just wanted to see if Tua was 100% healthy. He looked like he was scared in some aspects of the game, especially when Pittsburgh got behind the line of scrimmage. He was trying to run the ball. He was trying to protect himself. So that's what I'm going to be watching this year is Tua. I don't know how good this Miami team is. I really don't. I don't know what they are as defensively and offensively. We know what the offensive line is. We knew that this offensive line was going to come down to life. So teams are starting to figure out this team.
And the Monday night matchup, the Chicago Bears beat the Bailey Zappies and Mac Jones.
What a joke.
Quarterback controversy.
How the heck did the Chicago Bears beat the Patriots in New England? I mean, what a joke.
Yeah, they have been pesky in certain instances, but this is one of those just very weird wins for them. I mean, N'Keal Harry looked like he was having a revenge game against the Patriots in the first half. It was actually going to be the same route. Like all these other receivers, Bill Belichick's supposed to be the master of figuring out a way to get these corners involved.
Horrible.
And they were getting outmatched by those receivers. It's one thing if the Bears ran all over the Patriots, but they didn't really do that. Herbert had flashes. David Montgomery had a touchdown, but it wasn't a running game. It was those guys, and Justin Fields, as you mentioned earlier, he was extending plays very nicely in that game too. But
yeah, he used his legs a lot. He didn't throw the ball much.
He didn't throw much.
13 for 21, 179 yards. He did throw an interception. He's got to stay away from that. But I think Justin Fields is figuring things out. I think he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. I do. When they give him some weapons, I think they'll be fun. And by the way, for a team that really wasn't supposed to have a good year, a lot of people thought was going to have the #1 pick, they're 3-4.
Yeah, they're pesky. They've been a pretty good team, and even a lot of their losses too have not been
Eberflus.
Yeah, they've not been bad losses. They almost came back, beat Minnesota, and they hung. Obviously, they beat the 49ers. They played them close in that game. They hung tough with the Giants. They are playing some quality football. Really, the only bad game they've had so far was against the Packers when they got blown out on Sunday night. Every other game has been either a close game or a pesky win. And again, the Patriots in Foxborough, granted, it's not the same whole field advantage it was, but it's definitely a big deal for a team that isn't very talented on paper and a rookie coach. And for the Bears, it looks like there's a lot of things they can look at going into this game and say that it was good. Now, they still have flaws on their roster with their run defense. Ramondre Stevenson went off for the Patriots, but the rest of the defense looked pretty good. Their pass rush has been better too. So some signs going up for the Bears, but again, they're just pesky. They're not great right now. Kind of like we were saying with the Falcons too.
The Patriots stink.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
They stink. And if the Jets can't win on Sunday against this Patriot team, then they should shoot themselves. I'm just kidding. But
don't pull off a Plexico burst.
This is a year where the Jets could very much sweep this series. They are that much better than the New England Patriots. I don't care who they lost. Elijah Vera Tucker, Breece Hall. They added James Robinson. They are much better than the New England Patriots. Defensively, offensively, even special teams. So I expect on Sunday to put up a big number, just like Chicago. I want to see the Jets put up 20 and keep the Patriots down onto 10, just like they did against the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are better than New England. That tells you right now what New England is as an organization and a team now. And just like Tom Brady, look at what Tom Brady's doing right now with the Buccaneers. I think they're going to be rebuilding too, and I think Todd Bowles is going to be fired at the end of the season. I just think it's a lot of these teams that a lot of people thought were supposed to be good have just fallen apart this year early in the season, and they're with all these teams that are winning, they're pulling away. And if like for the Jets or some of the other teams like Tennessee, if they start winning and they put up 3 or 4 winning streak, they could pull away from this, the groups that are right behind them that was supposed to be good. So that's what I see. And the Rangers just scored, by the way.
About time.
I don't know who scored. But, yeah, the Rangers score the goal. Tied
Goodrow? Barclay Goodrow. Yep. Barclay Goodrow. 4th liner at his first goal of the season.
At least they're scoring.
Yeah, at least they're scoring. Now the question is, can they actually play defense is another question. But so far, the 1 goal against Colorado is actually pretty good.
No, it's so weird. They're not playing defense, but their goal. I mean, what's his name again? Shesterkin is 3-0-1. He has won all of the games that he's been in, and his goals against average is 2.79, which is not bad for a goalie that with the Rangers. How many goals against they have?
Yeah,
and if Shesterkin's playing tonight, is he playing tomorrow against the Islanders?
Yeah, that's going to be tough to tell because now it's not the same travel, but again, you don't usually see Gallant play a lot of the back-to-backs. Now, again, being that they're home for this game and then they go to UBS Arena, it's not the same level of travel because they already did it where he didn't play in Winnipeg after they played at Minnesota back-to-back. He didn't play that game, but when you look at it, it's not the same amount of travel, so it's still a possibility. I agree with you. He probably won't, but it's probably a best chance. If you want to test him for a back-to-back early in the season, this is the best chance to do it, not having to travel a lot. Yeah, the Rangers have 20 goals allowed right now, 20 goals scored, a completely even goal differential right now, which is the 2nd worst in the division.
They'll be fine.
Yeah,
they'll be fine. I like the Islanders. I know a lot of Islander fans are upset, and Sorokin right now is 1-3 in his first 4. He's played 4 games out of the 6, and everybody's like, oh, maybe they're giving him too many games. It's not. The Islanders aren't playing well. And you could see it. You could see the numbers and the way the numbers are, but it will change. They can go into the UBS Arena tomorrow, shut out the Rangers, and they could be right back on track. It's crazy, but that's hockey. You just don't know. And then they win 2 games or 3 games. Their schedule is hard. I mean, right now, if you look at the Islanders' schedule, they have the Rangers, then they have the Hurricanes, then they have the Avalanche, and then they have the Blackhawks, and then the Blues, and then Detroit, and then the Calgary Flames. You're talking about, and then they play the Rangers again in November 8th. So the Rangers are a quality team. The Hurricanes are a quality team. The Avalanche is a quality team. The Blackhawks are playing well right now. They're a quality team. The Blues are a quality team. Detroit's playing well right now. They're a quality team. Calgary, quality team. I mean, right now, the games don't get easy until the end of the month. I mean, it's not even easy.
Right. Chicago's the only easy game, but it's in Chicago. That's still going to be a tough.
Chicago's 3-1.
Yeah, they still have some good offensive talent. That's still going to be a tough home crowd. That's not going to be guaranteed easy either.
I mean, they have the Coyotes after the Rangers, then the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets are playing well right now.
Yep.
I mean, the Senators are a pretty good team. The Predators are a pretty good team. Stars, Maple Leafs. I mean, Oilers. It doesn't get any easier for them.
No.
They're going to have to find a way to win these games.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you're in this brutal division as it is. And now all of a sudden you got these overperforming teams. The Devils playing well at the start of the year.
Well, they'll come to earth.
Yeah, no, they always do. This is what the Devils do all the time. Same kind of thing with Buffalo. Like they always have that hot first month, and all of a sudden they just.
I know as an Islander fan, I want to see the Islanders lose, and I'll tell you why. Because this year's draft, I mean, if they win the lottery, you're talking about a guy that some people compare to Connor McDavid. I forget his name, but
yeah, Bedard,
who everybody keeps saying is like a sure thing. Could you imagine you put him with Barzell? Forget it. I mean, the Islanders have been looking for a goal scorer since Tavares. You know, if they could get a guy like Bedard over there with the Islanders, forget it. That's why I want them to lose this year, but I don't want them to lose because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from the Ranger fans how bad the Islanders are. So,
and by Ranger fans, you mean Forever Blue Shirts writers too?
Yeah, I want to see that, but because I think the Islanders are much better than they're playing. Okay.
Well, yeah, we knew that. We knew the Islanders' like peak talent is there. It's just a matter of, again, coaching identity, which I think we've seen some good things with the offensive system in comparison to what Trotz had when it comes to Lambert. Definitely a lot more spacing on the ice.
I mean, right now, if the season were to end, the Islanders are 4th worst team in the NHL. They'd have a chance, to win the lottery. They wouldn't win it because it's the Islanders.
Yeah, you think Arizona's winning the number 1 pick? I remember that you said
I do.
That.
I think Arizona wants to win the number 1 pick. I mean, because that'll draw Matthews to come and play with them. I mean, just think about it.
If they can actually get a stadium, that's a whole nother
Well,
story.
Matthews has 2 years left, a year left on his contract after this year.
Yeah, but again, they just have a lot of other issues.
And he's still very
Will
young.
it be enough to lure it back home? It's a great homecoming story.
Yeah.
You want to save hockey at Arizona. Is it realistic? Is another question.
Mikey C believes it. He believes that they're going to get Bedard. He believes it. The NHL is going to set it up that way. Because Phoenix, they don't want to move Phoenix. They don't want to leave.
Yeah, Gary Bettman wants to save Phoenix at all costs.
Yes.
Even though it's unrealistic.
You bring in Bedard over there, that's going to bring in fans.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Your last-ditch effort to save Phoenix and not move it to an actually good hockey city, you better hope that kind of thing works. Because, yeah, you might have an instance where the Coyotes get a guy like Connor Bedard, or the Coyotes might look like the Edmonton Oilers of all these years and ruin Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and only win a combined 3 playoff series so far in the 8 years he's been in the league. Until this year, they only won a first-round series, and they barely won that series, too. So all of a sudden, you look like that when it comes to the dysfunction.
Well, there's a lot of dysfunction all over the place with the NHL. I mean, Gary Bettman runs the organization, so enough said on that. But, yeah, the Rangers aren't playing good hockey right now. Or the Islanders. But I expect this to change. I think the Rangers are on the top of the Metropolitan Division before no time. I don't think Pittsburgh's as good as they're playing right now. I don't. They're old. Their goaltending is playing out of the mind right now in Jari. I don't believe that this is going to be like this. Philadelphia, they're a young team. I do believe they're a playoff-bound team. I said they were my surprise team this year. I told that to your little buddy over there. He thought they were the up and coming team 2 years ago. I thought he was out of his mind. I do believe they're an up and coming team with a good coach and some of the young players they have.
Well,
Washington's the team that I think is going to take steps back.
Me too. Yep, they're the one I had out of the playoffs at the start of the year.
I do. Even though they have 8 points, I think one way or another, as a season, they're old. They're going to get injuries. They're going to have injuries. And I don't trust that they're amongst the Eastern Conference beasts.
Right.
I don't. I think they're going to fall out. The Rangers will pick up slack. I think the Islanders, I think Columbus will pick up slack. I think Columbus is a lot better than they're playing too.
Oh, absolutely. They were one of the overperformers last year, and they were, I think, a couple points ahead of the Islanders for the season. And then they bring in Johnny Gaudreau now. And again, another year with that goaltending, another year with a lot of those young defensive players.
Remember, Patrick Laney's out for a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to hurt for.
Yeah, but when he comes
term.
back and you're going to add another big prolific offensive player, I think the Blue Jackets are good, and they have good goaltending, and they're very well coached. They're going to make the playoffs. I think this is a good year for the Blue Jackets to make the playoffs. I'm surprised that Calgary is playing the way
they're always a team that's like, they're not good every year, like back to back.
But they lost a lot of pieces.
I know that. And we were saying before in the offseason, we thought they won that trade with the Tkachuk trade.
Yes.
And got good players out of that. But again, I guess they haven't meshed yet with the system. We'll see if that ends up happening down the road. But
they're 4-1. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, they're the second best team. I think they're the second best team in the division, in the Pacific Division.
Yeah.
And even though Vegas is playing good hockey, I think Calgary's the best team in that division.
Talent-wise, they're a lot better than Vegas, because Vegas is
I think they're the best team in that division.
They had to purge a lot of
contracts. Who would have thought Seattle would be 2-3 right now?
Yeah, they were.
They got nothing.
I think they just beat Colorado too. They've been pesky this year.
They have nothing.
They have Shane Wright's Lord and Savior to save the day. It's the face of the Seattle Kraken.
Well, the young kid that they drafted.
Yeah, Shane Wright.
Yep. Shane Wright. Is he playing good?
I'm not sure on his exact stats, but he is on the roster. But again, he's been at least when it comes from a speed and spacing perspective, he's really been a force.
I couldn't believe he fell as far as he did.
Yeah, everyone was saying that too. Like, I'm not faulting Montreal, because I think their kid already scored. He has an assist and a point this year, +2 rating in total. Yeah, he's played all 5 games, and again, he's a very fast, 18 years old.
He'll be good,
and yeah,
I don't know if he'll be elite, but he'll be good.
I think a lot of people were saying that kind of thing too. Like, he's right on the cusp. He might be one of those like 2nd tier, 3rd tier stars. But for this draft, it seemed like he was definitely going to be the number 1. But Montreal thought otherwise, and ended up going with a kid.
Eberle's has 4 points already.
Of course he does.
He leaves the Islanders, and he's an all-star.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying. It gets me heated. It really does.
Oh, see. There are other teams that, unless you're the Buffalo Sabres, that can rebirth Islanders players, except for the Sabres, where they're just the retirement home for everybody.
No, I don't know what's going on with the Islanders right now.
Yeah, it's a defensive identity that's having some good offensive games right now, but getting blown out by the Devils definitely doesn't help.
No, and I listen, I don't think the Devils are going to do that again. I mean, the Islanders did not play well, and Sorokin gave up 2 really bad goals in that game.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yep.
So I expect this to be different. I expect this team to figure things out. All the Islander fans are very frustrated. I mean, as well as you should be. I mean, but it's early. I mean, their best players. I mean, Anders Lee has 4 goals already. He has 7 points. He's elite amongst the league's best right now. Brock Nelson has 6 points, no goals, which is surprising. Barzell has 6 points, no goals. Barzell needs to score. This is the problem. The Islanders need to get this guy moving. Noah Dobson looks like he's going to be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be up there. I mean, he's played 6 games. He has 2 goals and 3 assists. I mean, this is a defenseman. He has 5 points already on this team. He's 3rd in points for the Islanders, and he's a defenseman. So Oliver Wahlstrom's played well, 3 goals. He had that hat trick in that game. There are guys that I think are going to be trade pieces. Bolivier, I think he's a guy that the Islanders should look sometime in the middle of the season to move him. They'll keep the guys like Martin and Mayfield's another guy that I would look to move.
Right.
At the trade deadline. Clutterbuck, who he signed a 1 year or 2 year extension. I know they like him on that fourth line, but you can add anybody with Cizikas and Martin. I would trade Clutterbuck if you can get something for him. Kyle Palmieri, this is the guy that really has been bothering me.
Yeah.
He's played in 6 games. He has 1 assist. You gave him the money that you gave him. You gave him a 4-year deal. He's doing nothing with the Islanders. This guy's a goal scorer, and he can't score. This is a problem. And maybe it's the lines that they're putting him on. I don't know. But this is a huge problem for the Islanders. They're not scoring goals. Pajot, who I think is a better second-half player.
He's Palmieri.
Yeah.
I hope for that.
Pajot has 2 assists. You expect more from these guys. You're paying them a lot of money. I mean, I think the Islanders gave him a $50 million contract.
Yeah, it was like 5.5 a year.
I mean, he's making that for the NHL. That's high in his standards. He should be playing better. I think these guys will figure it out. But, I mean, it's a new offense. It's a new way of their playing, but they're not scoring. And this is a huge problem, and which we all believed there was going to be a problem for the Islanders.
Right. Again, they have to find the team speed, the pace. Those are 2 things that you can't really find with a lot of these older goal scorers in today's league, because it's one of those things where even the younger teams that have some veteran like 3rd and 4th liners, they are mostly built on younger guys up front. When you look at Colorado, you look at the way the Hurricanes have built teams like that. That's the issue that the Islanders have. They don't have a lot of those veteran, those younger guys in the top 6 as much. And outside of Barzal, who's spacing well, Wallstrom's doing well.
Can't score either.
But when it comes to the speed, when it comes to the pace, he's still essential for that kind of thing if they can get some other guys to be raw shooters. Because you're right, Matthew Barzal sometimes is reluctant to shoot for whatever reason, and that's a big reason as well. He hasn't gotten the development in his game now he should. Now he got his contract. He got his contract, which was well-deserved at the time, $9.15 million, and he's going to have to earn it from a goal-scoring perspective in order to make that kind of thing work. And I think they need another guy to help him out that is faster. Does he have to have the numbers? No, I think he has to have the speed more and the ability to possess the puck more, so Barzal doesn't have to do it all the time. And Palmieri, I don't think is that type of guy. Pajot, he's good for what he's good at. Face-offs, he's a big guy, could get tough, like gritty goals in front of the net, but he's not that type of like pure center that's going to do a lot of great things offensively too. And that's what the Islanders really need in a very offensive style of hockey that they're doing with. But I think Lane Lambert has really done a better job than we've seen Trotz's scheme, the offensive system just as a whole, get more spacing on the ice. And it's allowed a couple of big goal scoring games so far from the Islanders. They just need to happen on a more consistent basis if they want to win this not win, but make the playoffs in this tough Metropolitan Division.
Well, we're still waiting for Ovie.
Yeah, still waiting.
Is he coming on?
Yeah, he said he was running late from a dinner, and he will be in whenever he's ready. He was running late, and then he just has to set up his stuff. We would have had to do it from the car otherwise, so I told him he could just do it when he gets back. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, we're still waiting for Ovie Mughelli. Hopefully we have him on soon. We're running a little late. We were doing the show to 10 o'clock. So very soon, hopefully we have Ovie on, and we'll finish up with our interview, and then we'll scoot until Thursday. So again, but like I said, by the way, the Calgary Flames are up 2-0. Chicago, I think, is up. They're going to be up 2-0. Right here, they're going to put the puck in the net. Boing.
Oh, so this is the
3-0.
No, this is not the ultimate revenge game. I was thinking the Flames for a second. The Panthers, Flames, the whole trade situation.
No, and I think these games are just like all over the place. I mean, Phoenix 4-0. I mean, 6-3. Phoenix wins the game against the Blue Jackets. Phoenix.
Yep. The Tankathon.
The hottest team in hockey right now, the Boston Bruins.
Yep.
They're the hottest team in hockey right now.
Yep. Jeff's finally getting some good hockey in the beginning.
By the way, didn't Jeff say that the Boston Bruins were going to start off really slow this year because of all their injuries? Didn't he say that?
Yep, he did.
Yes, he did. Everything that he said, he's wrong. Everything. How about the kid that the linebacker from?
Oh, Zaven Collins.
What happened to
Yeah,
Zaven
he
Collins?
hasn't developed either. No,
He hasn't developed everything that man has said. Shout out to the great Jeff, who always is wrong.
Well, it might be better than his quarterback who they drafted at 15 overall.
He doesn't have to come on the show to make excuses. I'm giving it to you. I'm telling you right now, everything that you have said in the past 3 years is wrong. Wrong. You want to take it? What are you trying to take a shot? You take a shot at the Yankees. You take a shot at anybody of my team, the Jets. They lose Breece Hall, but hey, listen, the Jets are 5-2. What is your Patriots? Oh, I'm sorry, they're 3-4.
3-3 with a
3-4.
3-4 with a quarterback controversy between a first-round pick that's a game manager and Bailey Zappi, who was a 6th-round pick, who had some nice flashes.
Don't worry. I'll make sure that I send you a text after the Jets beat the Patriots on Sunday.
He's going full screenshots. He has to make it happen type thing.
I'm going to put up a nice little 6-2 record for Jeff to see that. No more the Patriots or the Beast of the East, because they're not that anymore. And they won't be that for a very long time, because the Miami Dolphins are better than the Patriots and they have more youth. The Jets have more youth and they're going to be better than the Patriots. And yes, the Buffalo Bills, too, are better than the Patriots. So the Patriots will be sitting on the bottom of that division for the next 3, 4, 5 years, like the Jets were, like the Buffalo Bills were, and like the Miami Dolphins were. This is the time, this is the crummy time for the Patriot fans to sit there and deal with the Jet fans, the Dolphin fans, and the Buffalo Bill fans.
How long will it take before Bill Belichick has to retire because of this?
I think within 2 years he'll be
2
gone.
years, yeah.
And then they'll put somebody else in there that's going to make the team.
Patricia, round 2.
Yeah, probably. They'll put somebody, or a judge. They'll put somebody, or maybe his son, or maybe his son.
I like his son. Steve's a good guy.
Maybe Steve takes over. I don't know how long that's going to last either. So, I mean, Bill Belichick will still stay with the team. He'll give the reins over, and he'll probably become the GM. Or
I'm thinking that too, because I don't think he's like completely out of football like mode completely. It doesn't seem like what's happening with Brady right now, where he seems just distracted with everything. Belichick, I think, is still focused.
If I was Tom Brady, I'd be distracted too.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I don't think that he has those kinds of excuses.
But I didn't think Brady was going to have a breakout season anyways this year. It didn't matter who he had on that team. He's 45 years old. Eventually, father time hits you. It's hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the same player. I don't know why he had a fantastic year last year, and everybody was like, "Oh, he should have won the MVP." He wasn't better than Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Aaron Rodgers might have not thrown as many yards, or this or that. He had better completion percentage. Touchdowns to interception ratio was much better than Tom Brady's. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was better, and he played with worse.
Right.
So I understand that Brady had a good year. I think he's just done. He looked like he lost a lot of weight going into the offseason. He looked like he came back. He had something done with his jaw. He just, unfortunately, this season ruined his family life.
Right.
I feel bad for him. I do. I feel bad for Tom Brady, because when you sit back and you wonder, this guy was a big family man. He had his wife. He had his kids. He decided to come back out of nowhere. He got offered a $350 million contract, the highest paid, analyst in NFL history. He was breaking records, and now all of a sudden he's got to deal with a divorce and sharing his kids. That sucks.
Right.
It really does.
But again,
they looked really happy.
Yeah.
I thought they were really, really happy family, and then all of a sudden this happened. This pissed her off.
Yeah. And again, you're looking at a case where Brady's had to overcome that kind of adversity too, and in addition to on the roster as well. Like Arians has to not coaching anymore. Now he has to deal with.
He didn't want Arians there.
The great Todd Bowles now taking
one of the reasons why he came back was Arians wasn't going to be there. Okay. He didn't want Arians to coach him. I think that's a fact. If you look it up, they weren't getting along. So he didn't mind Todd.
No, I agree with that, but Todd Bowles as an in-game coach. Have we really been impressed with him so far? No, because their defense has been top 5 in the league. Fine. You want to give him credit for the defense because he's the defensive coach, he's the defensive coordinator, and then you could give him credit for that. But you still have to game plan. You didn't game plan well against the Chiefs for your top 5 defense. You still allowed 41 points, and you're looking at a case where offensively, Tom Brady's overcame a lot of other things in the past, but one thing he hasn't overcome yet is, I guess, a middle tier to below average coach. He's never had that in his career. He always had Belichick, and then he had Bruce Arians. So he transitioned to a legendary coach in Belichick to a very good coach in Arians, who was one of the best ones in the league before he retired. And now all of a sudden with the family stuff too, he's leaving just to lose to PJ Walker and the Carolina Panthers.
It'll be fun.
Yes.
Ovie almost
Ovie is coming. He's grabbing a shirt, and then he's going to be coming on the video very soon.
Well, finally. I'm a little tired. I'm a little worn out. But yeah, I'm staying on for the interview. I'm just letting everybody know I had a long day today, and I have a long day tomorrow because I'm going to the Islander game. But I'm doing this strictly for our guest.
Yep. He's staying in and doing his thing, unlike Ben Simmons, who keeps fouling out.
Yeah.
Well, even when he does play, he finds a way to get out of the game. So that's his manipulation. You could think of it that way. Last year, he didn't play any games for the Nets. Now, all of a sudden, he's trying to foul out to get out of games. So what is the next saga of Ben Simmons would be like?
Which is nothing. I mean, Ben Simmons. Give me a break.
No.
The Knicks are 2-1.
Yeah, the Knicks are 2-1. They beat Orlando yesterday, was it?
Yeah, they killed Orlando.
I saw they were up big.
I know it's Orlando, but they still beat them.
Yeah,
they're an NBA team. They still beat them.
Yep.
And right now, if the season were to end, the Knicks would be a 6 seed. And that's where I think the Knicks will be. I think they're closer to a 6-7 seed. That's where I think the Knicks are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think they're not a play-in team, but I think they're right there on the borderline. I'll tell you this, Cleveland, who was supposed to be so good. I mean, losing Garland for a couple of weeks, that hurts them because I know they think that adding Donovan Mitchell, he could play the point guard position. Garland's the point guard. Mitchell was supposed to be the 2.
Right. And that was the design. They wanted to not have the same usage rate on him as they did with Utah.
And it's killing me right now in my fantasy. It's killing me.
Don't worry. At least you got Bonchero to save you.
No, God, please.
You're a rookie #1 pick.
Yeah, but I still can't win because my team, being that it's starting, I start off with like nobody playing the first game, the first day of the week. And then it takes for a while for me to catch up. And then I have to play catch up all the way through the week. Chances of me winning are slim. It just sucks, man.
Here's an interesting question. So I mentioned Ben Simmons before. What is the worst contract in New York? Ben Simmons, Kenny Galladay, or Josh Donaldson?
Ben Simmons.
I think it's Galladay, personally. But he's been completely useless. At least Ben Simmons has some level of skills when he is in the court. Kenny Galladay, I don't know what he is at this point. He's a slow, fragile pot hands.
I just want to see my team. I want to see my team at full strength kick the crap out of one of these teams. I want Garland to be back. I want Paul to play, and I have my 2 best point guards because that's what I made the moves for. I wanted my team to be small and dangerous with the point guard play that I have, and I haven't been at full strength, since last week. Since game 1, my point guy got hurt in the first quarter of game 1. He had a laceration. He's been out ever since.
Oh boy!
I mean, how am I supposed to win?
I know you had Kawhi Leonard. Has he played yet?
Kawhi played tonight.
Okay. They said he was close to coming back. I didn't know if he was actually.
He's not playing back at the back-to-backs.
No, I know
which hurts me.
Which
really, really hurts me. I didn't know that.
For a guy with the load management things of the past, I guess you shouldn't be surprised at.
That really hurts me.
All right, looks like Ovie has arrived.
I'm looking at it. Hold on. Kawhi Leonard is still playing right now. I don't know what he has right now.
All right. Clippers and Thunder. Kawhi.
12 points.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
12
points. All right. We're not going to a break. We're going to bring him in. We are now talking to former Ravens, Falcons, and all-pro fullback, Ovie Mughelli. What's up, Ovie?
Not much, guys. Thanks for being patient, having me on.
I'm a little tired. I had a long day today, and I have to go to the damn Islander game tomorrow. Deal with the crazy nut job people over there, the Islander Ranger game. But we're happy to have you on. First of all, how are you and your family doing with the whole pandemic?
We survived. I was the reckless one. I went to Vegas and for a conference. I work in medical sales, and for a medical conference about wound care, and yeah, we had a little bit of fun afterwards. After the conference, went out a couple times, and what happens in Vegas did not stay in Vegas. I brought COVID back at one time, and wife wasn't too happy about that. So kids quarantined me, threw me like some crackers, and locked the door. and so luckily, it wasn't too bad. The pandemic, I mean, the what you call it, the shot was out, and so my dad's a doctor, so I didn't have a choice to take it or not. So I got it both, and I was good. And then I got it again, but I didn't know I even got it. The second time I got it, it was just a cough. I thought I was just coughing a lot, and I ended up having COVID, and I got thrown back in the room with crackers and door locked, and 2 times COVID. I'm still here. I'm happy. I'm blessed. So
oh, you are, and by the way, we're very happy that you're okay. Happy you are on with us. But before we get into a little bit of your career, what is it like going in from being a good football player, an all-pro fullback in the NFL, to medical sales? What is the difference of being a basher and now into a seller?
Well, it's there's some similarities. It is a crazy jungle trying to deal with egos and teammates, and the corporate structure. Just like there's a structure in football, the OC, the head coach, your position coach. But I think the difference now is that I can't hit anybody. Like if I don't like you, I want to just like maul your face. I can't do that. I can't, chop people in the neck or run through their chest. I want to do it with some of my doctors, and my dad's a doctor. Sister's a doctor. And so I say this lightly, doctors have egos. And they swear like they can't do wrong. And they sometimes look down at you like, I'm a doctor. What do you bring to the table? I'm like, well, I can double your revenue and help your patients not die. So that's kind of important, So it's been fun. It's been interesting. But at the end of the day, it's become my new passion project because I have the ability to literally change how medicine is done and give patients across the country, easier ways to manage their health and hopefully save a couple lives. So it's been really rewarding.
We are talking to former Ravens, Falcons, all-pro fullback Ovie Mughelli.
So last time we had you on the show, you were talking about your foundation and the growth of that. So what has gone on for that over the last year, and what some of the things you have done with that?
Well, pandemic shut everything down, killed some of our biggest funders. We had a second comic book that was ready to come out in 2020. And we had to put that on the shelf because some of our biggest sponsors pulled out. But we're still trucking along. We've had to go down to one major program, which is our sustainability STEM program. We talk about the science, technology, engineering, arts of this environmental field or sustainability space. Work with a great company called Everfi. And so we have that going on in 4 schools right now, just a way to teach kids about how to make green by going green. But we're still very excited about the second comic book, Gridiron Green. Excited about, the new message about recycling, something that's very simple, very easy, a chance for everyone to make a difference. But yeah, I've had to kind of just use me as a mouthpiece for what we're doing with the environment and why it's important that even though this is something that we feel like is happening far, far away, only polar bears and ice caps and doesn't affect me. It does, and it affects, unfortunately, the least of us. And so it's something that I want to find ways to encourage next generation to take seriously and be part of the solution. So
good for you, man. It's a great thing, and helping our communities and helping our government is something that we should be doing, not fighting over politics and who's liberal and who's Democratic and who's this and who's that. It's ridiculous. We should be trying to help out what's going on in the world and what we can do to fix it.
Absolutely. And it's crazy. I got Republicans and Democrats in my family / extended family. And it's just insane because if everyone treated people like they want to be treated, problem solved. That's it.
Yeah.
If you just treat people how you want to be treated, left or right, you'd be fine. And unfortunately, that is a difficult concept. But
I agree with you.
Hopefully, you got to stay positive and just, believe, pray that we'll find some solutions that just give us better quality of lives, give us better value, just, take care of the basics, just the basics, not asking for too much.
Now, you were a fullback, a running back, and the game is completely different. And with the way turf and grass is, the NFL is changing practically every stadium to now turf. It's affected people with hamstring problems, groin problems, knee problems, ACL tears, Achilles tears, all that other stuff. Odell Beckham spoke out this year saying what he felt about it, and how it's ruining people and ruining young players' careers, and it's really setting players back. What are your thoughts? I mean, you played on both turf and grass. What is the difference as a runner on both sides of the field?
I personally, I like turf, but again, I'm not going like these cheetahs, like these Tyreek Hills and Odell Beckham's going, you know, running these 4.3, 4.4, 4.2 40s. I'm over like, you know, 4.47, respectable 4.7, you know, at 250, 255. And I hated the ground just, you know, escaping underneath me, and mushy Pittsburgh Steelers, real grass. I like real grass when it's kept up, but excuse me, most of the time, you know, after the third and fourth quarter when everyone's just chopped into it, I can't get a good footing. So when I hit somebody, I'm grinding through it. I can't get my feet stable. And so I love turf for that, because I always felt like I had a solid foundation to just plant and then jack somebody up. I'm a turf guy. And so I realized that the majority of people, especially the fast guys, the specialists, are not turf guys, but good turf, turf that, you know, expensive, put down the right way. I feel like for the run game, it helped us.
So you played with a lot of good running backs. We went over that kind of thing last time, but you also played with a couple quarterbacks with the Ravens and with the Falcons, one of which recently just got benched in Matt Ryan, and now sitting on the bench the rest of the year for the Colts. What was he like in your time in Atlanta, and are you surprised that it kind of fell to this point for him?
I'm extremely surprised, and I feel bad for him, because a lot of Falcons fans. I was at the barbershop, got my little shiny haircut today, like bouncing off it. And we're doing barbershop talk. Yeah, thank you. And people were like, "Oh man, your boy Ovie, what happened to your boy Matt Ryan?" I'm like, "Matty's good." Like, well, I looked into this a little more, did a little, you know, reading. He's got an injury. It's not like, you know, they're benching him because, well, he has been really, really bad. But the injury was like, all right, you know what, this is probably not going to work out for us. Plus, we want to go into tank mode so we can get a draft pick. But Matt is not a bad quarterback. That needs to be said. People need to understand that. It's fun and easy to pile on my dog Matt Ryan, but he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's had a rough end to the season, but his numbers, he's got Hall of Fame numbers. He's broken so many records, and being with him in Atlanta from the time he was a baby, a newborn Boston College kid, coming to the NFL and, you know, running like a baby giraffe when he tried to scramble. He's grown so much, and he's been able to, I think, lead teams to impressive comeback wins, and his leadership is there. I just hate that after I left 2012 and you know, even at the Colts, he's never had a solid offensive line or a solid defense to help him out, or even a solid running game. And they you know, Frank Reich even said it, like, we promised Matt a run game. We promised him an offensive line. We didn't deliver. You know, we failed him. And I'm glad he was honest about that, because Matt has made some mistakes, but it's hard to throw accurately when you're running for your life. And the hits he's taken, they add up. They absolutely add up. I played 10 years, and I delivered some hits. I took some hits, but as a quarterback where you can't protect yourself, he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league the last 3, 4, 5 years. Like, either the most or like the top 2 or 3. And after a while, you just get a little shake. It's just human nature. So I'm not putting too much of it on him. I know he's had a great career. If he decides to hang it up, you know, he's one of the best to play the game. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't think that. They think that Matt Ryan is proving, you know, why Falcons should got rid of him a long time ago. And I don't think it was a good fit for the Falcons the last couple of years, because of what I said. He's too expensive, too talented to have no offensive line and to have no help on defense. Just my thoughts.
I agree with you. As everybody knows, we are talking to former Ravens, Falcons, and all-pro fullback Ovie Mughelli. He's been on our show before. Happy to have him on again. He's been a very busy man as he's in medical sales. His family is in the medical world, as he said. His sister and father are doctors. It's crazy. What is it like? Obviously, you're retired, and people come up to you all the time, and they're like, "Oh, Ovie, you were one of the top fullbacks in the league, and now there's no fullbacks in the NFL anymore. There's like 3 or 4 fullbacks. The fullback position,
Kyle Juszczyk supreme,
is completely gone.
Juszczyk.
What is it like knowing that your position has completely disappeared in the NFL?
It's crazy, dude. It makes no sense. It kind of irritates me because these coaches try to outthink themselves and be all super fancy when what works sometimes the easy answer is the right answer. And when you just get a solid fullback that can move men and run through people, and it doesn't matter if that offensive lineman misses block, that offensive lineman is block is shaky, as long as the point of attack, you have a beast, an animal, somebody's going to go out there and just handle business, you can get 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards, big run, 15, big run, 20 yards. It just gives you insurance that the run game is going to be solid and effective if you have a great fullback. And Juszczyk, he's one of the best. Like it is. Someone brought this up to me, DM'd me and said, "Hey man, you really set the market for fullbacks back in 2007, where I was extremely blessed and signed an $18 million deal, highest paid fullback in NFL history at the time, and making $3 million a year. I was super excited. I think Lorenzo Neal even texted me because Michael Turner used to be obviously with the Chargers, and Lorenzo his fullback, so he gave me his information, and he said something about the contract I had, like, congrats, whatever, because he was making like 1.5 a year, and he was the highest paid fullback at the time, and I doubled that at 3, which is crazy because in 2022, and look it up because I don't know if the numbers he told me was right. That's what told me that the second highest paid fullback is making like $3 million a year, like 3.1, and like Juszczyk is like he's making 5, and it's great a year, but they have not gone up with fullbacks. Either I don't know what happened. They just don't value us. They don't appreciate us. They don't treat us with the respect that I think fullbacks should be treated with. And they think that you just throw anybody out there, when a good fullback who can run, who can block, who can catch, they're hard to find, but they're out there. But the market hasn't been treating them well.
Yeah, the next highest paid in terms of average annual value is the Ravens' Patrick Ricard, $3.75 million per year.
Okay, good.
And then the next highest overall, he's making about $3 million per year after CJ Ham on Minnesota.
Yeah, so like the third best fullback is making what I made 15 years ago. Or more than that. It's insane. And all the while, I mean, the fullback is the least paid position in football, and I feel like if we're out there beating these top paid linebackers, we're out there handling these top paid defensive ends, you should pay us. But that probably will never happen again, unless the cyclical thing comes around and people actually realize that having good fullbacks help you win games.
Yeah, that actually was my next question. Because linebackers and safeties have kind of gotten maybe smaller for the position as a whole because they're prioritizing speed more. Can you see that kind of thing transitioning, whether it's the raw fullback position or some of the concepts?
I can see it. And I mean, if these OCs stop trying to outthink themselves and just take the easy answer, you're absolutely right. They have gotten smaller because quarterbacks and OCs are going 5 wides, and they're trying to spread it out. So they want athletic linebackers, athletic safeties. And that means that the 250-pound, Keo Spikes of the world, Kendrell Bells of the world, Jeremiah Trotters of the world, even Ray Lewis got up to like 245, and he was a pretty big dude, slimmed down, near the end of his career. But those big old linebackers, it's a thing of the past. And frankly, I like it. I like it when they're small and they try to be all nifty and shifty and get around, because I just hit them in the mouth and they fall over. Those other big guys, man, I got headaches going against the Keo, like third, fourth quarter. I'm like, you good? You're like, are you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Are you good? And, we both are not good. Both got like 5 concussions just from hitting each other.
Oh, man.
And we can't go to the side because it's, the 2007s, 8s, 9s, 10s, and no one's letting you say timeout. I think my head hurts. I have a concussion. That wasn't even something a fullback or a linebacker could even say. Like you'd be blackballed if you were show that you were soft by admitting that you had a concussion and couldn't see straight. But no, I'm hoping that it comes around and coaches realize, or the league realizes, that getting a decent fullback, getting a great fullback and running against these small guys gives you the advantage.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Ravens, Falcons, on all-pro fullback Ovie Mughelli. Ovie, you look at the CTE situation with the NFL, and it's crazy. We've talked to a lot of NFL players, a lot of ex-NFL players, and they've all told us that the NFL did this all wrong. They didn't look out for the players, these former players that have helped build the game for what it is today, and where it's really gone. And when it comes to contracts, new CBA, contracts that they got, new TV deals, everything happened because of you guys, the older players. And then with the CTA came out, they tried to ruin this doctor that was trying to help you players. And then all of a sudden, when push came to shove, and they were trying to make excuses and throwing everything under the rug, then the players tried to sue the league. They winded up giving the players $100 million, which was not enough. They still don't want to give players, what is it? Insurance, guaranteed insurance for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, you have Roger Goodell making, him and his family have insurance for the rest of their lives. He's making $45 million a year. He has his own jet for the rest of his life, even if he's not the commissioner of football. What are your thoughts to the way the NFL has treated these former players that deserve a lot better from what they have gotten?
I mean, it's a shame. It's unfortunate. Baseball players, got guaranteed contracts, and basketball players guaranteed contracts, and insurance for the lifetime. Football players, after 5 years of retiring, it's done. It's cut off. Like you're on your own. And it was a little bit scary, luckily. And the older players have it really bad. Like we have a health reimbursement account, a health savings account where they put some money in there. But all right, after 5 years, I'm using my HRA account and I'm watching it go down, go down, go down. And I'm, I've been using it for about 6-7 years, and I'm done. I'm out. Like I got no more money in that thing. So I gotta, luckily one of the companies I work with, they have health insurance, but a lot of guys don't have large companies they're working with that fully cover their health insurance. And so they're just paying out of pocket. So it's insane that with all the money the NFL makes, they can't find a way to take care of the people who built this multi-billion-dollar business for them. If the NFL doesn't want to do it, the owners can do it for each individual team if they wanted to. And it's not going to change their lifestyle at all. So I just don't understand why they say they love the players. They say it's a player-driven league, but they don't do what's best for players. They say player safety is the biggest thing for them. They're adding extra games, and we're telling them that this is going to add more injuries. It's going to add more concussions. This is going to, affect these players in a negative way when they retire and they're playing 17 games a season versus 16. And they're like, yeah, but we took away a preseason game, so we're even, right? No, we're not even. That's not how this works. So it's sad. It's unfortunate. I hope that maybe a light bulb goes off and one of these owners decides that they're going to set a precedent and say, if you come to, the Raiders, or you come to the Chiefs or whoever, we're giving you lifetime health insurance. We don't have to. NFL's not doing it, but we're doing that. That will change a lot when it comes to free agency and places people want to go work for.
So we've seen the most extreme case of that this year with the Dolphins, the way they've handled Tua Tagovailoa so far this year.
Disgusting.
Tua came out last week and said that he was practically unconscious when he got knocked out in that game, and he doesn't even remember getting knocked out. So, do you think how hard do you think the NFL should punish the Dolphins organization for this kind of thing?
They should set an example, because teams will keep on doing this as long as you allow them to do this, because they're like, oh, we're doing so well. Like, we're on a run. Like, we don't want to take Tua out. And we put in all these rules and had all this, kumbaya and song and dance about how, we're going to take care of the players, and concussions is something that, we should report. And, we're going to police these teams by having independent third-party NFL person or doctor, make sure the players are good to go. None of that actually worked. If the team wants the player to play, they will jimmy rig whatever they have to do to get the player to play. And it's going to keep on happening if they see that they get a slap on the wrist. Because if it means winning a playoff game or, a pivotal matchup, they're like, yeah, we'll take the fine. We'll deal with it. So I hope they do something that's extreme. So the Dolphins are like, and more importantly, the rest of the NFL is like, if a guy has a concussion and can potentially, hurt himself badly, or die by getting a second one back to back, we're going to keep him out. Not just because we don't want our players to die, but we're also going to get severely fined and severely punished, and it's going to hurt our team in the long run.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Ravens, Falcons, all-pro fullback Ovie Mughelli. Ovie, when we look at the game as a whole and the transition, and everybody talks about how the game has changed, it's become a quarterback game. Everybody said, when in the 90s, it was a defensive game and a running back game. Then it transitioned into the wide receivers and quarterbacks and the prima donnas now. You have these wide receivers. They want more money. Look at the offseason that we've seen. These wide receivers, the money they got. There's also Tyreek Hill gets traded. He makes money. All these different guys that are making money. Obviously, Adams goes over there to the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's making the biggest contract in wide receiving history, the crazy amount of money that he's getting. So you look at the league and you look at the game, and now these quarterbacks, if you put a finger on these guys, you could be suspended. You can get fined. A 15-yard penalty could cost your team a game just by hitting the quarterback. And now they're saying if you lean on them or you lay on top of them when you hit them, that's a penalty. What the heck is this game turn? You might as well make the game flag football. It's a baby game now.
Dude, I'm just glad I don't play defense. Like, I am so happy I don't play defense. Even when I was playing ball, I felt bad for the defenders. I would tell my guys, Sean Witherspoon was my homie. We still hang out. And a couple other, Thomas DeCou, a couple other defensive guys, even John Abraham. I'd tell them, like, man, y'all can't do nothing. Like, nothing. Like, how in the hell do you sack a quarterback and you hit them and all of a sudden you don't lay your body weight on them? How do you matrix yourself to not fall on top of them if you hit them dead on? Like, it's insane. It's not even doable. Some of the rules that they have, like, everyone saw Grady Jarrett sling Tom Brady down, and we were having a big comeback versus the darn Bucks, and that stopped our momentum because they're protecting Tom Brady. And we've seen that tackle happen on several quarterbacks. Grady did it like the next game, sacked somebody, rolled him up, and threw him to the ground, because you can't let these quarterbacks go. Even some of the old ones, they'll put a hand down and keep on running. And then what then? You gonna blow the whistle, calm them down? So it's an offensive league. It's a quarterback-driven league, and they're protecting the quarterbacks. I get that to an extent, but it is so overboard now that it's difficult to play the game, especially if you're on the defensive side. It's difficult to actually be aggressive, because just watch. It's like everyone's afraid now. You watch these defenders, and they are giving these quarterbacks love taps. Like, usually, oh my gosh, back in the day, you would make sure that quarterback felt that hit. And he threw the ball, you would just deck him, knock him out. Now they're stopping so early. And I get it, because they don't want to be the reason that the ball comes back. You get an interception, or you stop him on downs, and all of a sudden the play's extended, the drive's extended, because you tapped the quarterback, you touched the quarterback. So I don't think it's good for the game. I know what they're trying to do, but I think it's going to hurt the game long term if they keep on going in this direction.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that Grady Jarrett one.
Yeah.
He was literally trying to roll over to get away from him. And just happened to.
And no body weight. He threw him down, got up, straddled him, ran away. They called a foul, they had to throw a flag on that. I was furious.
The game has become like a peewee football game. That's what it's become. And I don't care what. I know Tom Brady complains. I feel bad for Tom Brady. I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but this is a guy that decided to come back from retirement. He's playing for a crappy team. Him and his wife are getting a divorce now, all because he decided to go back and play the game because he loves.
You better win a Super Bowl. If you're going to get a divorce, coming back to play football, you better win the damn Super Bowl.
That's what I said.
The
trade him to the 49ers.
They might not even make the playoffs.
They'll trade him to the 49ers. They'll win over there.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're losing to the Carolina Panthers, and you should be winning the Super Bowl. You know, I didn't leave yourself for this to lose to the darn Panthers.
Oh, it's
hard. Walker.
I feel bad for him because a guy that should have just retired. He had one of his best seasons last year, and you thought he was going to ride off to the sunset. He just got a $350 million contract. He's the highest paid analyst in sports history. I mean, why would you go back and play football? You had everything. You had your wife. You had this big contract. You have all your businesses. You're making millions and millions of dollars. Why the hell would you go back? Because he loved the game so much. And he loved his players, and then he's losing and he's getting a divorce. I just feel bad for the guy. I really do. And he looks just not healthy. You know, when you watch him,
he looks unwell. Like he looks unwell, and you know, none of us know what's going on with him, but it looks like, again, not going to speculate, but it looks like something's going on. Like even if it's small, he's just not eating well, and his TB12 is going to the extreme. But his face looks sunken, his eyes look sunken, his skin looks different. He doesn't look well. So I'm not surprised that he's not playing at his best, because you got to have muscles to play the game, and his seem to be like, you know, eroding away.
I think so too. I don't think he looks well. I've said that's to Speedy over here. I say it on the show all the time. There's something up, and even when he did his press conference when he came back, he was in that sweatshirt. He just didn't look like Tom Brady.
Not at all.
Not even a confidence level on the field. He's yelling more than we've ever seen him do it. He's not the same quarterback. And
he's 45, by the way.
Yeah.
He's 40 freaking 5. Like, what are you doing playing football at 45?
It's not the money. It's not the money. You don't need it. I mean, seriously.
He's trying to make the rules look bad of how to take down a quarterback.
Fox just gave him almost $500,000. I mean, I'm sorry. I have $500 million to be an analyst, and he's never done it before. He's never even tried to do it before. You see all these contracts that these guys are getting. Buck and Aikman, they get something from Amazon now and ESPN. They're like splitting doses over there. I think Aikman's making like, I think $35 million a year as an analyst or something like that. Yeah. And Buck is
Kirk Herbstreit too over there.
Herbstreit too is making a lot of money. I mean, these guys are making ridiculous money talking sports. I mean, it's a great deal. It's a good, and it's all because of Tony Romo. Tony Romo become a superstar analyst, and now everybody wants Tony Romo money. It's unbelievable, man. It really is.
Tony Romo came from Tony Ono to big money.
I never heard that
Tony took a dig at himself. The first game he broadcasted. He said, "I wish I could have been there."
I always heard Tony Homo, not that's
Tony
what
Ono.
But I never no. That's pretty good. Tony Ono.
Tony Ono.
Tony played.
Yep. Tony Ono. It's the reaction to when he botched a snap in the playoffs.
Yeah,
man.
And since then they haven't had the quarterbacks hold. Now the punters get to hold because of that, because nobody trusts him because of Tony Romo.
Exactly.
Last question for me, and I know you're busy, and I know you had a long day, and I know you want to go home, or you are home. You want to go to sleep and just relax and get ready for work tomorrow.
Yeah, we got to catch Game of Thrones. We didn't watch it on Sunday, and everyone's been talking about it.
I watched it.
Don't say anything. So we have it on DVR. And
I'm not saying anything. Crazy ending. And I can't wait until season 2. I can't wait because it's crazy. But anyways, we'll talk about it off air. I'll tell you what. We'll talk about it. It's crazy. I love game. You know what's so funny? Before I ask you the last question, I didn't watch all the Game of Thrones series until like 4 or 5 years later when it was done.
Yeah, same here. Best thing ever.
Yes, because I don't wait. I hate waiting. You know what I mean? And now because I'm so addicted to it, now that this started, I'm watching every single week, and I'm like, what's going to happen? I got to wait until this week because I got so addicted to it. And this season, I think it's just it's a much better story, I think. And I think it's going to get better in the second season. I really do.
I just hope they don't do like 3 or 4. I want like 6, 7, 8, 9. Like immerse me in the story, like the first Game of Thrones, House of Dragons. I hope they have like 7, 8, 9. I want to get all the way in.
Well, what they're going to do is John, what's his name again?
Snow.
Jon Snow. They're making a show, a series for Jon Snow after Game of Thrones.
Good.
So they're doing this, and then they're making something with Jon Snow after the Game of Thrones. So they're going to make this, a franchise, and it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. But my last question to you is, if there is a piece of the game that you can change right now, if you were running the NFL right now, you were the commissioner of the NFL right now, and by the way, we are talking to ex-NFL player, Ravens, Falcons, all-pro fullback, Ovie Mughelli. If you can change the game in any kind of way, what would you do?
It's a great freaking question, man. I want to selfishly, just say pay the fullback. That's too easy. If I could change the game right now, oh wow, I would. That's so many things.
All
right. Well, the not so easy thing, but what I would love to see is just more African American coaches. I feel like there are so many African American players that play the game, play it well, have the mind to coach, want to coach, and this darn Rooney Rule is not working. And there are more qualified guys than what we see, but it's just the good old boys club. Like there's so many crappy coaches that you'll see whenever there's an opening. Oh, let's throw that coach in. Let's throw that coach in. He's had 4 chances and he's messed it up every single time. Give one of these coordinators or these position coaches a chance to be an OC or be a head coach. So I would just love, we have like what 2, 3, 4. Just give us 25%. Just give Black coaches a chance, because I say that because one of my favorite coaches, Coach Jim Caldwell, he got ran out of Detroit when he was doing well. And his replacement did worse than him, and everyone kept on giving him chances. And again, Jim Caldwell coached me in Wake Forest University, which is doing amazing, by the way. Top 10, go Deeks. Handling business, almost took Clemson out in double overtime. Come on now.
I wanted them to win so badly.
Yeah, so Jim Caldwell is my guy. That's my dude. I've seen him, when he was a NFL coach, and I've seen him afterwards. And I always say, you should be coaching right now. You're better than a dozen of these coaches coaching right now. And because some of these owners are just like, let's just recycle who we have.
Right.
It's taken away from the league. I think it's taken away from the game, and it's doing a disservice to the fans by not having the best coach.
Look what Miami did. Look what they did.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to see more coaches of color.
Good question. Good answer.
My last question is about your other quarterback that you played with in Baltimore, Steve McNair. Very sad what happened to him.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Do you have a good Steve McNair story?
I have the best Steve McNair story, at least for me, man. And gosh, I remember like it was such a solid hug. It was so, it means so much more now, especially. But we went back to Tennessee, and they had just said, Steve, you're too old. We don't want you. You're not good enough. I don't know what quarterback they chose instead of Steve, but Steve ended up coming to, yeah, there you go. So Steve ended up coming in 2006. My last year with the Ravens, he came to Baltimore, and we were like, he's better than Kyle Bowler, and he was much better than Kyle Bowler. Kyle Bowler was terrible. But Steve McNair was a guy who was a veteran, was a leader, and brought all the things that Kyle Bowler didn't bring to our offense, like consistency and, and accuracy. And he had that fire, and we trusted him. We believed in him. Our game still was Jamal Lewis and myself. We were running the damn ball, doing our thing, but Jamal's hands weren't great. And I spent time on the jugs like a crazy person because it was my contract year, and I wanted to show them that I didn't just have good hands. I had great hands. I had the best hands of any fullback in the league. And so I had this thing called perfect plays. In practice, I don't think I dropped maybe one ball in practice, or maybe 2 or 3, but like all season. Like I was so just dialed in. So Steve's like, I see a fullback. whenever the ball, whenever I'm scrambling, if it's you or Jamal, I'm throwing to you. If I see you open, I'm gonna throw it to you, and I'm gonna keep on throwing to you till you drop one. So I don't think I dropped one in the game. But anyways, we went to Tennessee, and we were down 2 or 3 touchdowns, and we were really upset because we wanted to win it for Steve. So Steve had a great speech. Ray Lewis, gave a great speech. We were all rah, rah, rah. And like, let's go back and win this for Steve. Like, let's let him, get a W at the place that didn't respect him and didn't, show him love. So the third quarter, like one of the first big drives, we're trying to come back, and it's like we're midfield, simple play. I'm running 5 yards and to the left for an out, and I guess Derek Mason's not open and Mark Clayton's not open, and he looks dead at me, and he ends up pointing like where he wanted me to go. I stopped. I run 5 yards and out, and I stopped. And he said he ended up pointing to me. I was like, oh crap, he gonna throw the ball to me. So he throws it to me. It's just like 5 yards. And so I just turn, and 2 linebackers try to get me. Like one knocks the other one off me. I break a tackle. I break one more tackle, and I'm just like running. I feel like either my head's back or my eyes are closed. And I'm running. And I see the end zone. I just ran like 35 yards and scored a touchdown, and it was my first touchdown ever. And so I have this like really lame like jump. I go, yeah, and this fist pump in the air. But like Steve's running down to me, and he grabs me. He's like, he's such a big man. Yeah, bear hug. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, that's what the F I'm talking about. I said, I got you, Steve. We're gonna win this damn game. We're gonna win this damn game. And so the next thing happens, we just got on it was a little spark, and the defense got an interception, there's a turnover, and we ended up beating the Titans. And we wanted to lift Steve up, and we were in the locker room going crazy. And Steve came to me, and he was like, hey man, you started that off. You started that streak, man. I appreciate you. And I was like, nah, dude, I appreciate you. And it was, man, I feel kind of even right now talking about it, because he just was such a solid guy, such a great human being, and such an amazing soul, amazing spirit, and a gifted athlete. So I love that story because, it was something that I always remember, and I was able to give Steve something he really wanted. He said, it didn't matter, left or right, I just want to win for the team. But he wanted to show them that you made a mistake, and I'm a damn good quarterback, and he is, and he was, and I love him for that.
Oh, I found the game. It was 2006, November 12th.
I probably exaggerated, but I don't know, 36-yard touchdown. It could have been like a 20-yard touchdown.
It was labeled, this is according to StatMuse, as a 30-yard touchdown.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. I was close, 30-something. Yeah. 30.
You guys were down 26-7 in that game.
Wow. There we
in
go.
the second quarter.
There we go.
Your touchdown made it 26-14, and then it was a spark in the second half after that.
Yep, there you go. Not the third quarter, second quarter. I was off a little bit, but you got to exaggerate for the movie.
It's still a great story. It really is. Awesome. Ovie, you're awesome, man, and we'll get you on very, very soon. A lot quicker than we've had you, but fantastic stories. You're a fantastic person. Keep up the good work. Say hello to the family. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Sounds good, man. Y'all be good. Thank you.
As everybody knows, we were just talking to former Ravens, Falcons, and all-pro fullback Ovie Mughelli. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Really is. Great stories. And thank God he squeaked right in after his wonderful dinner with his wife. And
now I get to enjoy Game of Thrones.
Yes, Game of Thrones. Woo! That's right. House of the Dragon, baby. That wasn't a dragon. I don't know what that was. That was more like a dog.
That was like a dog, like dragon, like underworld beast. Yeah, maybe like a griffin or something like that.
It was different, that's for sure.
Yeah, so some mythological creature.
Yes, that's what I am, a mythological creature. That's right. Anyways, thank you to all the fans for listening to us tonight. Thank you for waiting for Ovie. We will exit Ovie right there. He shut off his he left his phone. That's crazy. He left his camera on when that's it. He shut off the lights. He's done. He's good. But shout out to Ovie for joining us. We really appreciate him as always. Thank you to the fans, like I said, and everybody that tunes in and listens to us and gives us the opportunity to entertain you throughout the week. We will not have a show tomorrow because, ladies and gentlemen, I will be at the Islanders and Ranger games, which the Rangers are tied 2-2 with Colorado. 2 minutes left of the overtime. This is probably, unless the Rangers score here, they're going to a shootout. So we'll see what happens.
Rangers will get a power play at some point, though, a delayed penalty.
No, they're going
now.
They're
at 29, so they got, I guess it's 5-on-3 overtime, or no, 4-on-3 for the 4-on-3 overtime.
This will be fun. Anyways, we'll be back on Thursday, 9 p.m. Stay tuned. Good night.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me